Hi, friends. So most people with chronic symptoms have an inability to express their needs, their feelings, their more authentic self. And this happens because growing up, or even throughout life, when we've tried to express our needs or our feelings as small children, and they weren't heard or received well, maybe we were dismissed or punished or judged for sharing our feelings or expressing our needs. The brain learned that expressing our needs and our emotions weren't safe. That's just bottom line, okay? And if they weren't safe, the brain started to push them down. And we lost the ability to share our needs and our feelings and our authentic self with others. And, we might be good at talking to other people about other things, but when it comes to this more vulnerable part about reaching out and expressing needs, this can be a very difficult thing for a lot of people. And I know it was for me. And I didn't really see it for a very long time. But I did notice that when I was hurt by somebody's words or actions, there was a block. I couldn't express that I was hurt. And this started, of course, it got me curious about, well, it's not necessarily about emotions per se, but it's about expressing them. And so it's important to understand, how the limbic system works and how it relates to the presentation of symptoms in the body. Because a lot of people think that symptoms are like stuck emotions in the body, but it's actually an incompletion in the emotional part of the brain, which is the limbic system. So when an emotion can't complete, the limbic system, which is responsible for both the emotion and the symptom, as I've mentioned many times, sends a symptom instead. So your symptoms are just incompleted emotion, unexpressed emotion, unexpressed feelings, unexpressed needs maybe. Okay? So it's very easy to understand. This isn't complicated. And so this translation of the inability to express is where you will feel sometimes a tightening around when you're hurt or when you're frustrated and you can't say anything. And there is this resistance to what you're feeling. Okay, and that is the resistance which is causing the dysregulation, okay, like I've mentioned many times. And underneath that is the exile, the part that couldn't express, okay? So we're trying to be really clear, and so going forward, we know exactly what we're doing. So then, of course, what would be the solution, the remedy to our problem, would be learning how to express. But if we have lost the ability to express, learning how to express is out of reach. It's just not there, okay? And we might have tried. I know I've tried, and boy, it was always kind of a hit or miss thing that, okay, that didn't go very well, either in the response due to other people's stuff and or just not being able to express fully and clearly like a child would express her needs. All right. And this is why I had to develop a way for me to be able to express. And I really recommend this for those of you that feel blocked. And it might not feel like you can do it right away because of this incapacity to express going forward. Because the brain is like, no, we're not doing that. We don't do that in this life. But the pen and the paper are safe. Okay? And so my lightning journal process isn't about going into all the reasons why you're hurt, or all the reasons why you're angry, or all the reasons why you're afraid. Emotion is energy, and energy needs to move. And that's why the allowing practice is an open-ended practice that allows energy to move. But repression isn't available to us to allow. Allowing didn't work for me. It did not get into the repression. And, and I tried. It just, repression is hidden. We can't see it. We can't know it. And so when I started doing this lightning journal process that just sort of came through and I just knew what to do, I was astonished at the energy that started to move. And it became very clear that the brain and the nervous system have been looking for an outlet my entire life. And it wasn't going to happen with other people. I might as well just give up on that. It had to happen in a safe way, in a way that the brain could learn, right? Because the brain is always able to learn things, that it was a new way to express. So I'm going to go through this again one more time. The lightning journal process is not writing. It is not journaling. It is moving energy. It is expressing. It is not releasing. It is expressing. Children don't necessarily release energy. They express needs. That's what children do, right? They grow up and that's what their MO is. They cry when they need somebody. They cry when they're hungry. They cry when they're tired. They cry when they're frustrated. They're expressing. And it's in the moment. Releasing is a kind of a pent up thing. And releasing can work, but it's not showing the brain that its expression, which is authentic and sometimes very primal, very childlike, can happen whenever it's needed, just like a child's. So the lightning journal process, and I've even brought my journal here to show you kind of what it looks like, but it is a way for energy to move, like I said. And I've gone through this on a few of my videos. I'm going to go through it again, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. Because what we're doing, we all have what is called a core wound. And this core wound is the ego, and it goes very, very, very deep. And what I have found was this process starts to follow a thread into the core wound. And it's like kind of like going backwards in time into the part that is the core cause of our separation from God, from the self, from a real ease and a trust that runs all the way through our life, okay? So when that child is allowed to express, we are getting in touch with that thread. And the self inside of us, the psyche, knows exactly how to access that thread and how to follow that thread. Okay? And this is all I'm going to say about the core wound right now, but I'm going to talk about it again because it's been remarkable for me to access it this way. But right now I want to talk about the lightning journal process, and I'll probably do another one, just a really short one, just to have it there for you to return to. But all we do is we take our pen and we get out of the way, and we do this every day. And first I start with just a little bit of allowing, to allow myself to be just the way I am. And the psyche starts to learn when it's time for that younger part, that exile, to start to express. And it gets ready. It's really interesting. Every day it gets ready. So it's like we're training the mind. Okay, this is time. It's time to express. So I allow myself just to be for a few moments, and I do this first thing. This is my first morning practice. When I've allowed myself to be the way I am, which is a message of safety, I pick up my pen. And I might think that there's nothing there. In fact, most of the time lately, I feel like there's nothing there to write about. But as soon as I pick up my pen and start to write, there's an exile there, really ready to express. Now, sometimes it's not a big thing, but most of the time it's been, in this past year, it's been huge. Big, big, big expression. Ripping expression. And it starts with just a little bit of a thought. And it could be, I don't know if I can do this. Okay, maybe you're starting a new project or something, and a lot of insecurities coming up. And that child is right there, right? I don't know if I can do this. And just that little bit of insecurity feels like maybe not much, okay? But we're going to follow it. That's the thread. And you start writing, I don't know if I could do this. And then you let the feeling come through you. I don't know if I can do this. That little bit of insecurity. So your pen and your hand are like belonging to the psyche, and you let that psyche kind of channel. It's a channeling of that younger part, and you let that younger part scream about how scared it is, or throw a tantrum, or really start whimpering and being very, very, very afraid, and you start scribbling. There is no more words. It is pure energy now, okay? You might still feel inside some thoughts that go, I don't know, I'm scared, you know, and I'm kind of faking it right now because it's not really accessible for me to, but I've accessed some pure terror inside, and it comes out, and it scribbles and it scribbles and it scribbles, and you might have some very intense energy moving through this pen onto the page, and it may make dots, and it might make scribbles, it might start ripping, it might start just going crazy, and you turn the page and you turn the page and you turn the page and you turn the page, and you just get out of the way. In 90 seconds or less, If you're not attaching a story to what's going on, that emotion will complete. 90 seconds or less. I'm not exaggerating. Because that's how long it takes for a pure emotion to complete when there is no story. I've had emotions complete in 5 seconds. And it can be really intense. And all of a sudden it's like over. And you kind of want it to come back because that's our old way of like, I got to release all this. But this is different because pure expression is with the hand and the pen as this pipe, that energy is allowed to move. And I'm going to show you, what a couple of my pages look like, just so you kind of get an idea of what you're working with, right? There is no right way. There's only your way. Let me get a good one. Because I want you to see, get one that's really good. I want you to see that it's not going to always, this is what a child looks like, right? This is exactly what a child is going to do when they're having a tantrum. And it will do that. And it's just going to do this. It's just going to do scribbles. And it's going to be just energy. And you're just going to sit there and watch your hand do this. And I have some in here. I know that they're really ripped up. I don't know. I don't want to take too much time. But when the energy, there's a good one. Look at that one. Right? That's a good one. Because it's, I couldn't even move the page. There was no way I could even get out of function. My only concern was let that energy move. That's my only concern. And complete. And when it's complete and it's over, I just kind of let the pen kind of keep moving softly and softly and softly, just for 30 seconds or so, so that normalcy can kind of return. And then I might take a little drink of water, because when it's completed, there will be nothing left. You will not be able to find that energy in your system. It'll be done. So I have done this every day. When I first started, I was doing it 3 times a day because I could feel the brain was starting to go, okay, we're in expression again. And it would start to need to express. So it was maybe 3 times a day. But now it's just 1 time a day, once in a while, maybe 2. But you'll know when you want to do it, and it feels like a relief, because it's something that you've never been able to do before. I've never been able to feel this way before. I used to think I didn't have anger. There was anger in there. I didn't know it was in there. I used to think that, the fear, I've been pushing down fear, but once I started getting in touch with fear, it went really, really deep. Fear being the primary emotion. The insecurity. So this is the thread. This is how we start accessing the thread of the core wound. And we let her rip. We let her come out, and we let her just scream and tell it like it is. It might be not pretty. It might be very violent. It might be very ugly. You might get images of violence. I did. I didn't know it was in there. But that's the child that has never, ever been allowed. This is nervous system regulation. Nervous system, what the nervous system needs. to know it can operate normally like it was designed to do. It's not a story we're writing. It has nothing to do with the story. Children don't operate in stories. They don't hold that in their mind. Their mind doesn't learn about drama and this and that. Little kids just have needs. And it will feel very young. It will feel very primal. There might be some sounds coming out. So I hope you consider this for those of you that have been frustrated with your symptoms, or just know that you have blocked expression. I hope you consider it, because, I've been on the path for a very long time. I had no idea this was there. No idea. And this has helped me so much. And I know it came from divine guidance. I know my guru gave me this expression tool. And the fact that it is so easy, I don't ever resist doing this. I don't ever feel like, oh God, I got it right. I don't ever feel that way. It feels like something that is like the most healthy thing for me to do. And I enjoy it because it's so easy. You just get out of the way and it happens. And that's the key, getting out of the way so it happens. And you enjoy it. It's okay, you can. Yeah, go for it. Okay? And your symptoms. Now, it might trigger a flare as your nervous system starts updating with this, okay? I went through some nervous system updating as the nervous system started to learn it could express. It had to take in this was new information for it. And so I did get some flares. A couple of them were strong, but they didn't last very long because it was just an updating thing. It wasn't due to repression. And the symptoms felt different somehow. So, those of you that were kind of commenting on my other videos about, emotions are a distraction. I'm like, no, that's not what I believe. This is my work. My work is about emotional completion, that this has to happen. It has to happen. And for those of us with symptoms and have had symptoms or have had blocked feelings, please consider this, because it's not going to change until you do. The nervous system will stay dysregulated until you do this. Now, I know like other journaling techniques work for some people, and that's great. They didn't work for me. The regular kind of journaling stuff, it didn't work for me. It was too in the mind for me. I needed the pure, raw, very childish, primal shit to come through. And we don't analyze this. And we don't use it to build a story around our childhood. It's best just to let that go and stay present. Okay? Because that story isn't who you are now. I hope this was helpful, because this is probably going to be the last time I talk about this. So it's an important note that I probably won't come back and remind you about this particular science and the connection here from your childhood and the inability to express. But just know that I have seen a huge connection between myself and the people that I work with. Because we all had it. We were all told, no, you can't do that. You can't express your needs. I will talk about the core wounds some more, though, because I think that's important. Okay? All right. You guys take care. We'll talk soon. Bye-bye.